Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my September wrap-up part 2. Now, after the disaster that was my book haul where everything collapsed, I've put my piles of books in even piles around me. So, fingers crossed, nothing will collapse and this video will get recorded nice and easily today. Fingers crossed. Now, boring bit will be the stats, which is at the start. So if you want to skip past the next 5 minutes if you don't want the stats, that's fine. I get it. If you want to hear about the books, I've got lots of great ones to talk about. So this may be a bit of a longer video. So as you can see, watch out. I've got a lot of books to talk about, but there's some that are amazing. So here we go with the stats. So as you would have seen from my book haul, I bought 33 books. I was gifted 3, but I did unhaul 3 unread. I read 33 books off my unread TBR shelf, 36 books in total, which is incredible. So, for the first time ever, I've got some fantastic news for you all. My September unhaul TBR, unread TBR was 450 books, and October is 450. I didn't raise the bar! Yes! My unread TBR has not grown. Now, as you would have heard from my unread my book haul video, I actually only bought 20 this month, so I am cracking on with it. I'm not buying too many books. October is looking all right because I've got the half term at the end, so there might be a little bit of stressness then, and I've got some other things happening at the end of the month, but there's nothing that is due to be stressful to cause me to go mad on my buying. I am trying to be good. I've got one trip shopping planned next Tuesday, or the day after this video comes up. I'm going into town, but I'm also going to be buying some clothes. Treat myself to some jeans and some boots. So I'll try not to buy too many books at that time. Fingers crossed. So that's that bit of the stats bit done. Now is to hear about the genres that I've read. So I've only read one thriller. Do you know what? I'm not beating myself up about it. Really don't mind. I've read 2 literary fiction, but I have decided literary fiction really isn't for me. No way. 2 non-fiction, which of course are going down as unrated because I don't rate my non-fiction. 2 classics. Obviously that figure next month will go sky high because it's Victober. 2 fantasy. Loved them. Really enjoyed fantasy this month. 11 historical fiction, and I'm so happy with that this month. And 16 contemporary. That is a bigger amount, but you know what? Like I said to you in the last video, I'm not beating myself up. I'm enjoying my contemporary, and out of my 5 stars, I think pretty much most of them are contemporary because they are just the comfort I need. And like I said, I'm in a good place today, but I'm having some wobbles at this time of year. It's the anniversary of my dad's death, the anniversary of my nan's death. My knee's playing up because obviously the weather. So I'm having a few wobbles, but I'm on the way up. I know what I can do to get better. I've got a lot of self-care planned, and you guys are being amazing. So, thank you all. Let's talk about the books that I've read now. Should we go on? Oh, so I said that I thought I'd be talking 5 minutes about figures, and it's only 4. Not bad, eh? So I did DNF 2 books. One was Where Do You Get To, Bernadette. I tried it yesterday, which is the 29th, and I read about 20-30 pages. And I discovered it is very much too YA for me. It made me feel quite old. I wasn't into it. And then I read a few of my friends' reviews on it, and they weren't a massive fan of it. So I thought, do you know what? No point wasting time. Let's crack on. Let's not read it. So I did DNF that. I also DNF'd The Year of the Runaways because, again, the writing just wasn't for me. So I'm getting better. I'm DNFing what is not comfortable. So I'm happy with that. So the unread book, the only unread book that unrated book that I read this month was When the Children Get Home by Julie Summers. It wasn't my best book that I've read about the wartime evacuees. Didn't really connect to it as much as I wanted to, so not the best. So we'll be going back, but I'm glad I read it. It's always good to put things into perspective about our own problems in this day and age. So we've got the fuel crisis going on here in the UK. They didn't have much fuel then. Imagine how they did back then, you know. Really have got to put things into perspective. The other one was then I went on to my 2 stars, and that's the first 2 stars. My sister Charlie gave this to me a couple of years ago, and I wanted to like it. Granted, it's best of the young British novelists, and it just didn't grasp me. I'm sorry, Charlie. Don't want to say anything more. I don't like being negative about books. You know that. That's not me. It wasn't my best, and not me, but it's quite a heavy book, so I'm going to go and donate that to the charity shop. Hopefully they'll like it. The next one is one that I picked up from the charity shop last year because people have raved about this book. We Are On Earth, We're Briefly Gorgeous. It's got really high, great Goodreads ratings. It just wasn't for me. I have spoken to Gemma and she agreed with me. She felt the same about me about this book. It was one of my books I picked up at the end of the month that I wanted just to see if it was right for me. Probably should have done a try chapter on it, really. But I bought it in the Thames Valley Hospital because I thought it looks beautiful. And I thought, my sister said that I would love it, but it didn't. This is a letter from a son to a mother who cannot read. Written when the speaker, little dog, is in his late 20s. The letter unearths a family history that began before he was born. It tells of Vietnam's lasting impact of war and on his family's struggle to forge a new future. This did get 2.5 stars, and it did get better, and I did understand it better. But I didn't necessarily enjoy it. It took a lot of work to really read it, and I just found it a bit hard. But if it's anyone, this one is one I would happily send off to anyone because I think other people may like it more. So whoever says that they want it first will get it. So let me know. Another one that I had high hopes for because a lot of people have spoken about Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman, and it just wasn't for me. This is the Museum of Extraordinary Things. It reminds me a lot of The Greatest Showman, which is a film that I love. It's got the lyrics to those songs in that film I absolutely love. But again, it just wasn't for me. 2.5 stars, so it was all right, and it did get better at the end. And there is a little bit of a love story that I did like. But there's some triggers in this, and I can't remember what they were, but there were some real triggering things in this that really set me off. And I struggled with it quite a lot, to be honest. So yes, it was 2.5 stars because the second half was better. But again, it just wasn't for me. Sorry, I just realised On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous I did only make. I'm still not sure whether it's 2 or 2.5, but that was definitely 2.5. Then I read another book that was 2.5 stars, Transcription by Kate Atkinson. I've discovered that Kate Atkinson really isn't for me. This is a heavy book, so I can't really send that, so it's going to a charity shop. But it's not for me. Kate Atkinson's writing is not for me. One of her books I loved. I listened to it on audiobook, and I think that's Life After Life or something like that. That one I loved. God in Ruins I thought was alright. I tried this one and it's just not for me. It's historical fiction set in the World War II at the start, but it's also set in the 1950s, and it's about a spy who is a female spy, and her sort of actions and how in 1950 some of her actions when she was a spy come back and haunt her, and that's about all I got from it. It's all right, nothing special. Not for me. That's the charity shop one. So now I'm on to my 3 stars. I read total 2 stars, 2.5 stars. I've read 5 3 stars. I've got 3 to show you now. Now, I'll let you know, 3 stars for me is good. It's not fantastic, but it's good. It's a book that I would happily read. I may reread. I enjoyed bits of it. It wasn't one that gripped me. It wasn't one that I will keep, but it was all right. And the first of it was Return of the Native by Thomas Hardy. This had real potential. I did like it, and I liked it better than some of the other classics I've been reading. The characters of Thomasine and Eustace de Vai and Mistress Urvite. So there are 3 women that are in this. Eustace de Vai and Thomasine are the 2 main lead characters, but we've also got the romance is with Damon Wildover and the returning native Clem Yearbright. Now, I loved Clem. He's a great character. I really did enjoy that bit. And I enjoyed the romances, but there was extra characters that sort of extra mingled in, and I did get a bit lost at times. I found myself sort of like having to reread bits because I wasn't sure what I was reading. Hardy's location settings is brilliant. It's a very dark book. And I think that I'm reading Judy of Scorpific October, which I'm really looking forward to. But this was all right. It was a good book. It was better, to me, it's better than some of the other classics I've read in the fact that I could easily read more. Like I could read more each day. And it wasn't like one that I hated. And it's one I'm glad I read. And I think I'm definitely going to keep this one because... Actually, yeah, I am going to keep this because I think rereading that when I've read more of Hardy's work will be good. I don't want to give that one up. So actually that's a keepy. So that's 3 stars. It's a keepy 3 stars. I read another book that was on my shelf. I think this is literary fiction. I had it on the wrong shelf. I love The Librarian by Sally Vickers, but I think I've got one more by her on my shelf, The Other Side of Us, which is I'm going to try a chapter for it, because this was all right, but again, not explosive. I didn't like it as much as I liked The Librarian. This has got a bit of magical realism in it. It's about many years ago, Mr. Golightly wrote a work which became an international bestseller. Now, the reputation of his masterpiece is on the decline, and he finds himself badly out of touch with the modern world. So he decides to take a holiday in hoping to bring the opportunity to bring his work up to date. It's all right. Easy to read. Flew through it. Just nothing spectacular. That is a goodbye, bays. Then I read a book for Tudor September. Their group read was this book, The Secrets of the Tudor Court. Julie didn't rate it very highly, and I see why. It was all right, but I've read a lot better Tudor fiction than this. Hushed voices and whispered conversations. A dangerous web is being spun. When young Mary Howard arrives at the Grand Court of King Henry VIII to serve his mistress Anne Boleyn, she's overjoyed. Mary is certain Anne will one day become queen, but Mary's witnessed the king's fickle nature before and knows how quickly he can turn on those he claims to love. This is all right. She becomes betrothed to Harry Fitzroy, which is obviously the king's illegitimate son. This is fictional, but it's a bit too fictional for me. It was all right, but I've read far better Tudor fiction than that. So it's all right, but it's not one I'm keeping. So now, I didn't have any 3.5 stars this month, so now I'm going up to 4 stars. Now, this is where I go for the books that I could really shout and scream about. The 4 stars, I'll give you, straight away tell you actually, I've got 12 4 stars, 3 4.5 stars, and 11 5 stars. So although I thought I hadn't had a great reading month, it actually was better than I thought it was. I'm definitely getting fussier on my 5 stars. It definitely takes me a lot to really get 5 stars, to really be thoroughly into a book. And to me, I've now decided if a 5-star book is one that I will keep. So, but there is a 4-star book, a 4.5-star book I'm still debating. So you'll have to let me know whether I'm going to keep that or not. So these are the 4 stars. This one I thought was wartime historical fiction, but it's actually contemporary. It's Maureen, because Maureen Lee mainly writes historical fiction, but this is actually contemporary. And this surprised me. It's got a lot of characters in it, so that bit you kind of have to really focus on who you're talking about, because it's about a house on the corner. And this, if I show you this, so we've got all these characters that are on this. So we've got all these houses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 8 sort of different storylines, 8 different characters. They all have their own sort of chapters, and they have interlinking chapters. And it's actually done really well. So yes, I'm not going to keep this because it's not one I'm going to reread. But I really enjoyed this, and I would definitely recommend the people that like Maureen Lee's work, but I want to try her contemporary work. This is a really good one. And the characters are really great, and the way they interlink is really great. But there are triggers for it. Let me know in the comments below if you want to buy this book, and if you want to have this book and you want to know what the triggers are, because there are some triggers in this and you do need to be aware of them going into it. But it's done well, and it's done with hope, and it's done with characters that you really grow to love. I loved quite a lot of characters. Not so much diversity in it, but Maureen Lee's not known for that anyway. But it's a really good, cosy, contemporary book that makes you think about the people close to you in your neighbourhood. So enjoyed that. Only You. I think I need to read Miss You, because apparently I read them in the wrong order. Miss You, my sister Charlie loved. I picked up Only You this month, which was a bit random. I should have picked up Miss You, because this took a bit of time to get into. And there are real triggers in this, so please be aware of that. Check the triggers in this before you read it, because otherwise you will get shocked, and you will. I think that was why it's only 4 stars, because there are real triggers, and I wish I'd known what they were before going into it. Letty and Alf are the only 2 English speakers at the Italian class in Rome. When they discover the language that connects them, there is a dance, and they dance around the Piazza Navona, and everything changes. Their 2 storylines are really good. But again, like I said, be warned, there are a lot of triggers. And their relationship's done well. And the way this story links into their past and how they've met and how they get back together. If they get back together, shouldn't really give them a spoiler there. That's good. It's done well, but it is hard-hitting. It's a lot harder than I expected it to be, a lot more emotional, but it did give me the emotions. Now, for me to get upset and tearful in this says that it's beautifully written. It is one I recommend, but again, be warned with the triggers, and I am definitely going to read Miss You soon. So I'm not going to keep that because the triggers are too triggering. Then I borrowed this book from my sister Charlie, and it was one I buddy read with the lovely Maria from MH Books. And this is good. This is very much of like a Sally Rooney kind of book. So I've read Sally Rooney's books recently. The only thing I will say about this is it's very much of the 20s, very much set for a different age range. I would say it's definitely for the millennials. Got great diversity characters that are diverse, great LGBTQI plus rep, good characters, good writing. Again, there's some triggers in this, but it's done well. I really did enjoy it a lot more than I thought I would. 4 stars, but it was a good 4 stars. It started off like 3. When are we going to meet the characters that we said we're going to meet? When is it going to get good? But when it did get good, it got really good. And it's about like Ava leaves Ireland and she makes her own money. And it does talk about like the abortion, obviously, rules in Ireland that people a lot of time had to go abroad to get abortions because it was illegal. And it tackles that, but it doesn't talk about that as much as you think you did. You don't realise why Ava went away to live in Hong Kong. You don't really know as much about that. But it's well written. I'll definitely look for more books by this author. But if you like Sally Rooney, then you'll definitely like that. That's the kind of writing that I would say to go for. That's given back to my sister. Then one of the last books of the month, which I picked up at the library, All of Us and Everything. All I will say is, yet again, it's another book about 3 sisters. You know what I'm like with me and my sisters. You know I love books about 3 sisters. There's Esme, the eldest child, Liv, the middle child, and Rue, the youngest child. How they interlink. But then you've got a fun element in this because their dad's a spy, which is straight away revealed at the start. But when he comes into it in the second half, it got really good and it was really good fun. Flew through this. It's my first Bridget Asher, I think, but I would definitely look for her more books by the library. But I will say I'll probably borrow them at the library rather than buy them. But really enjoy books on siblings relationships. Again, you've got a bit of triggers in this. You've got a bit of sibling rivalry. You've got this really good contemporary. Definitely recommend. Then the next one is one I picked up because I needed a giggle. Like I said, having a bit of a rocky period at the moment, having a bit of a wobbles. So I know which author will make me smile. Sophie Kinsella is a real author who is great at making me smile. I wasn't sure whether to go 5 or 4 stars with this, but you can tell this is probably one of her earlier ones. I think this is actually written in the early 2000s, so you can sort of see how that impacts it. Definitely a very much, but I would say it's more of a chicky litty than a contemporary. Very much of the romance, very much of the girl who falls in love. But if you want a book to make you laugh, this made me frigging I just couldn't stop laughing. It was just what I needed when I picked this up. I'm not going to keep it because I could easily get this again. It's not like it's a hard one. I'm still debating it. I am debating it. It's another one I'm really debating. It's a 4 stars, but it's a top end 4 stars. But would I reread it? That's the thing. Like, I know what happens, so I don't think I'm going to reread it. That's why it is only 4 stars. But it's about the secrets that we keep. It's about this girl at the start of this video tells all her secrets to a man, not realising she'll ever meet him again. You know, you can imagine what's going to happen next. But the secrets are funny. It's secrets all of us women keep. We don't tell our men our real clothes size. We don't tell our men what we like and what we don't like in bed, do we? Come on. Do we really? We don't tell them that G-strings suck, because of course they flipping do. They're horrible. As an older person now, I don't bloody know. This is definitely an adult rating book video, this is. But we don't tell our secrets, and secrets a lot of the time are best. We keep ourselves to ourselves. But this is about balance, and it's about learning what secrets you need to keep and what you should probably share. This is a fun book, but it does get you thinking about your secrets that we keep ourselves. I really love this book. It really made me smile. It's one if you need a book to make you giggle and you're female, pick this up. Because it's just perfect. But yeah, it isn't a keepie because I won't reread it. Now the next one I picked it up in a pound shop last year because the lovely Chloe loved it. But it took a bit of time to get into. It's not the 5 stars that other people have rated it. I'm not going to be carrying on with the series because it isn't for me. It's again very much of a millennial storyline. It's for the millennials. It's about some crazy rich Asians and politics and how they interlink, and family, and how money can impact the way the decisions you take. It was all right, but not as good as I wanted it to be. So it is going. I've only paid £1 for it, so I'm not going to beat myself up. Now the next book is 4.5 stars, and I cannot decide whether I'm going to keep it or not, because it is very much of a contemporary. It's very much of a love story. I know what happened in it, but it gave me all the good feelings this time next year. And this really is, it's a new book out. I got it at the car boot for like 20p. Get ready to fall for this year's most incredible love story. Quinn and Minnie were born on New Year's Eve in the same hospital, 1 minute apart. Their lives begin together, but their worlds couldn't be more different. 30 years later, they find themselves together again in the same place at the same time. Is fate trying to bring them together? And this is tackled over the course of a year. You go back to their past and what makes them who they are. And I loved it. There are, it does talk about anxiety. It does talk about depression. It talks about loss. It's got a lot of hard-hitting things that are tackled in this, but it's done well. And I think to me the anxiety rep is actually done really brilliantly, and it's brilliant. I really didn't expect to love it as much as I did. I really don't know whether to rate it 5 or 4.5 or what, and I don't know whether to keep it because it's one that's got me thinking, will I reread this or not? Because I did love the love story. I did love the triggers that it's tackling in this, but the way it's done really well. It gave me all the good feels. I really enjoyed it. Let me know. I'm going to keep this on the pile of maybe keeping because I really did enjoy it. So that I got 3 4.5 stars, like I said. That was the only one I'm showing in this video. So the last 1, 2, 3, 4, I've got 4 5-star books. Do you want to give a guess at which one's my top one of the month out of those 4? Let me know in the comments below if you can get it. And I'm not going to show them to you. Yeah, just to see what you think. So first of my 5 stars is one that I didn't expect. It wasn't on my TBR. This was one I wanted a contemporary to read at the end of the month. I've only bought it a month or so ago because I'd heard really good things about it. I'm lending this to Gemma because otherwise it would be a keepy. Because I think, Gemma, sorry, it's only a lending to you because I think you'll love it, but I want it back because I do think this is definitely one I'll reread. It's got the older character in it, which you know is a thing that I love in my books. It's got Rosemary, who's 86, and Kate, who's 26. Dreamers, campaigners, outdoor swimmers. And it's about a swimming pool, and they want to close it down. It's an outdoor swimming pool, and they want to close it down. It's about how these 2 women fight to get it, to save the pool. How their lives connect, and you also get like little chapters about other people that have been connected to the pool and how their lives and how the pool's changed their lives and how they all interconnect at the end. And this gave me all the feels. If you want a book about campaigning, about community, about friendships, about how generations different generations doesn't mean you're not going to be friends, this book is everything. This book gave me all the good feels. It is one of my biggest surprises of the month for how much I loved it, and it's 5 stars all the way. I am looking for the 24-Hour Cafe by this author. I am going to buy all her books. I want them. I really want that. I nearly bought the 24-Hour Cafe when I went shopping with Gemma and something stopped me. Now I'm going to look for it because it's brilliant. This is a brilliant book. Can't recommend it enough. So yes, that's a keepy, but Gemma's going to borrow it. The next one is one that I literally just finished about half an hour to an hour ago. Miss Potter by Richard Madeley Jr. I'm keeping this. It's brilliant, unless my family want to borrow it. But this is about Beatrix Potter, and I think it's fictional. It's historical fiction, and it's about how she wrote her books. I don't think, like I said, I believe it's fiction. It's not non-fiction, so it isn't real. I now want to see the film. I've got the film, I think, but if I really want to see it, because it's about her story, and it's about how we've got some bits about. There's a bit of romance in this. It's a bit about her characters, how they there's a bit of magic in it, about her characters jumping out of the page and sitting on her lap, and how animals and Beatrix Potter is amazing. let's face it, we all like the Peter Rabbit. I love the Peter Rabbit films, the new ones that have come out. I am buying the whole lot of them. I hope there's a Peter Rabbit 3 coming out, because Peter Rabbit 1 and 2 are the best. I love Peter Rabbit. She created Peter Rabbit. She created a world that a lot of our generation loved, and a lot of the older generations. Chris has got the kids' books over there that I think I may read myself. I may read all the short stories by Richard, but sod reading them to the kids. I think I want to read them all. But this is about her, and I loved it. I'm keeping it. I'm a keepy. That's a keepy. Now, next one again was an extra book that I read this month. This is a wartime book that's actually got me wanting to buy the second book straight a blooming way. I need it. I need the Room Christmas book. I don't know if I put it on my Amazon wishlist, but if I haven't, I want it. If anyone knows how to get it for me, please. I want it for Christmas. I love this book. 3 women. And this shows women at the wartime at their frigging best. This shows us using our noggin, using our brain. Too often, back then, wartime books portray women as the ones that should be the homemakers, the ones that built the homes. Yes, we had to go out to work. Wartime made us women different. But this portrays the intelligent side. These women worked in the opera rooms. They saved lives. If you think the ops rooms, the ones that were controlling what the fighters up there did, they had to make decisions that were rapid. They had to be there to help control the airfields. They did amazing work, and this is brilliant for portraying the women. And this portrays us women in such a good light. There's 3 amazing leading women in this: Evie, May, and Glamorous Jess, and they are portrayed brilliantly. We've got a bit of danger in this, a bit of wartime bit of love, a bit of everything. This gave me all the feels, and this is a keepy all the way. I love this book. Definitely, if you want wartime book, but you want wartime books that are going to portray us women in a brilliant form, loved it. Then last but not least, The Lollipop Shoes by Joanne Harris. There are 2 different titles to this, I believe, but this is freaking brilliant. Now, I know Charlie from Charles Keto loves Joanne Harris's work. He said Chocolat wasn't as good as the second one. Charlie, can you let me know, please, in the comments below if you're watching this? Do the next 2 get better? Because this frigging blew me away. Chocolat was 4 stars. This is 5 every bit of the way. This is fantasy. This is friggin' fantasy mixed in amazingly. It's got witchcraft. It's got women's right. It's got bullying. We hear so much more about Yanni, who was in the first book, and her history. We hear about witchcraft. It's mainly focused on Yanni's daughter, Annie, and it's a lady that flies into the world, Sophie Kinsella. She's the lady with the lollipop shoes, and she is mysterious and witchy, and it's dark, and it's dipsy, and it's got some bits where you're on the edge of the seat, and it's everything and more. And this is friggin' amazing. This is Joanne Harris's best work so far that I've read. I am deliberately going to be buying Gemma the next book so we can read the next book in this series, because I can't wait. It's another one. These 2 books, literally, I want their next book in the series straight away. So it gives you an idea of how good this is. But this is the second in the series, so I can't say too much, but it's friggin' amazing. Loved it all the way. So, have a think. What do you guys think is going to be my favourite book of the month? I must admit, any of these 5 stars could be. So the 5-star book that I'm carrying over from the wrap-up part 1, which I'll wrap up here, it's got to be A Mother Forever by the lovely Elaine Everest. Sneaky peek, by the way, guys, I'm getting sent her newest book by the publishers. I got it. I asked for it and I've got it. I'm getting it sent to me. So you'll be seeing a review of that. That'll probably be added on to October. I don't think I can wait any longer to read that. Okay. Yeah. This is a favourite of the month. This is an all-time favourite of the month. This has got potential to be one I will never forget. I love this book. I love this series. I now will go and get Chocolat. I have decided I'm getting it. I'm having this whole series. I'm keeping it. It's friggin' brilliant. I will reread this series. I've got the next 2 books in the series. Reading the whole series, keeping it. It's perfect. I love it. So let me know in the comments below, what's your favourite book of the month so far? What books have jumped out at you? What books are the ones that you will shout out and scream? Are there any recommendations for me to find? Let me know in the comments below. Hope you all had a great reading month, and thank you again for all your support. You're all absolutely incredible, and I love you all to pieces. All the love. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Oh, if you're new to my channel, not subscribed, ring on my ding-a-ling. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment below. Forgot that bit. Sorry. Bye-bye.